Hello value viewers, I hope you're doing wonderfully well. Today for something different. We're probably going to be on Grim Reapers 2 channel here. It's going to be discussion, it's going to be informal with some rough guidance. What we want to do is we've just finished round 1 of our, what I consider really good fun. Capital ship battle in 1900 to 1945. So we've done 16 battles and we redid one as well. Here is the outcome. You can see South Dakota, Izei, South Dakota wins, and so on. They'll go through to the next round, okay? Today, I want to talk about the following. First, a little introduction. Then we're going to do talk about how our understanding of ship power and matching vessels together has changed. Then we're going to quickly blast through these battles we did here and just talk about any highlights. Don't worry, we're not going to go through every single little bit. To be honest, we won't be able to remember. Then we're going to talk about feedback from viewers because you guys have really helped us along the way, which is what makes this so fun for me when it's a two-way street. Finally, we're going to talk about round 2 and what we're planning for round 2. So first, a little introduction. I've been doing planes now for nearly 10 years, and I know quite a lot about planes, but I wanted to get into ships because it's not getting stale with planes, but the amount I'm learning is going down and down and down every year. So ships is brand new for me, so I can pick up a book and every word I learn from. And that's what this has all been about. It's been a learning experience. When we started it and I did this original South Dakota battle, I knew nothing. They had guns, they point out and they go boom, that's it. Now, we're not experts, but we're really starting to learn the mechanics of this, okay? So that's what's really interesting. And you guys, the viewers, coming along with us. So first, let's talk about ship power and battle selection. The biggest complaint we've had from you guys is that our matchups are not very good. Bismarck versus Hood, I mean, historically it happened, yeah? But as a battle, it's imbalanced. It's a World War I, pretty much, battlecruiser versus a World War II fast battleship. It's not fair. I didn't understand that when I started putting these together. Why didn't I understand that? The way I did these pairings, and it was me before, the boys have taken it out of my hands and they do it now, so they're much smarter than me. The way I did it was this, okay? I took the bore of the gun, the diameter of the gun, times it by the amount of guns, times it by how often their rate of fire, and that's how I did firepower. That was what I thought was firepower. Turns out it's not. And then I just added it to the armour, and then it came out with a score, and that was the score. And in that case, for instance, Iowa came out the same as Fuso. They're just as powerful as each other if you do it that way. Obviously, I had it wrong. Here's our new understanding, a much more better understanding as guided by you. Davros put this together. So, just look at firepower real quick. It's just interesting. This is firepower calculated differently by Davros. It's not done by the size of the gun per se. It's done by A, the weight of shell. B, the speed the shell is travelling at when it hits an opponent. C, the armour piercing effect of those two other conditions. And D, obviously, you have to have your rate of fire. You add that up and you get this, which is a completely different scale to what we've done before. Now, bearing in mind, this doesn't worry about accuracy and stuff like that, just rate of fire. But now look at Iowa, and now where's can anyone see the Japanese ship? I don't know. It'll be down here somewhere. It'll be much lower down. What that means is I was completely misunderstanding how powerful a ship was in offense and defense, and we've got much better at doing it now. Added to that, we've gone to this thing here, which Davros can explain if he wants, but ships, the 33 we've got available, how much armour they do, how much impact, speed, aim. Do you want to quickly go through these columns, Davros, just for the viewers?
Yeah, if you look all the way down to the bottom, it explains what they are. So armor is the maximum armor used anywhere on the ship. Okay, so it's not a cumulative effect, so it may well out or minimize some of those armors. I'm not a genius at this stuff. Impact you've explained, okay, so that's number of guns times the rate of fire times just the weight of the shell times the velocity of those shells. Speed is your maximum speed with no range considerations, so these captains aren't thinking I've got to get back to base, they're just hoofing it at max. Aim is a factor of accuracy and radar fit. That's a bit of a fudge, to be honest. We're not quite sure what some of those ships were capable of. Some of them might be a bit low, and it changes within radar range and within sight range as well, as we've just had demonstrated on the last video, to be honest.
Roger, thank you very much, and that's going to help us. The best thing that's going to help us is our experience. Of course, we started off just me, no idea what I was doing. We've now got a whole frigging team. This is what we do in Grim Reapers because we're nice, genuinely nice guys. We bring people on. We've now got myself, we've got Fly, we've got British, we've got Davros, we've got Dirty, we've got Corp, we've got LB, and other guys. Hello, boys.
Hello.
Some of these guys live and breathe battleships. Okay, and anyone out there who wants to come and join us, you can join us. We're literally an open group here. Right, let's talk about next some battles of interest. The first one, and probably the most interesting, was the South Dakota versus Ise. I did it on my own first of all. No idea what I was doing. Charged them towards each other with an offset so all guns could fire, and Ise won. The viewers shouted at me, "You're an idiot, Cap." I said, "Nah, I know exactly what I'm doing." Of course I didn't. We redid it now after the 17th battle, and Dakota won. It was actually quite close, but Dakota won, and in the end, fairly convincingly, because we know how to use standoff tactics, how to use battleships properly. Hashtag, we're not experts, but we're getting pretty good at these dynamics, and I hope you'd agree with that. So really good stuff there. These guys here were we weren't as good because we hadn't learned. So the Bismarck versus Hood, we still didn't really know aiming properly. It's irrelevant. Bismarck was always going to beat Hood. Does anyone disagree with that?
Not at all.
It's kind of obvious, right? So it doesn't really matter. We then had North Carolina versus Scharnhorst. Exactly the same thing. You've got a big battleship there. You've got a modern, but it's still just... It's a battlecruiser, isn't it, really? So with 11-inch guns or whatever. That one was always going to win, even if we didn't have our proper skills up by then. So there's no point of redoing it. We get the same thing. This one was probably our most controversial one, in my opinion. King George V is a really good battleship. Tirpitz is a really good battleship, but Tirpitz smashed it. I was never happy about that. I wanted to go back and redo it. We had a big tete-a-tete with the boys and even the guy that makes most of these ships. I'm not happy with the way the British guns are firing. But again, I'm not an expert. Anyone want to pad that out a bit?
Yeah, British may be able to go into the details better than me, but essentially it's not the British ships that are the problem, it's the Axis ships. So for gameplay purposes, for the Killerfish, the devs of the actual base game, OP'd the Axis ships' guns so that their single or a couple of ships could take on almost a fleet of the Allies. So it makes it a better game, however it is not historically accurate, and yeah, if British wants to give you the details, he can.
I don't think it's really a problem with intentional bias like it was in the older Killerfish games. I think because most of these vessels are modded in, all the ones which aren't American or Japanese are modded in. I think it's just a case of some areas have been inaccurately modeled. Maybe it was a biasing thing because some of them were, like, most of these ships have got from like 5 different mod packs, so they're not really compared to each other in a way. But some of the Italian German ships are shooting a little bit hotter than they should be, and that's the basis of it.
Really, another good point there. 2 things to point out. Yes, what we've done here is we've actually mixed several games into one, viewers, that aren't supposed to go together. So the way we've done this is we've taken different mods from the game, added them together. They're not meant to be together, and so you get some disparities. And so you will be slightly off here and there, but generally it seems to be fine, apart from this little one. Secondly, mods. If you guys want to use these mods, you go to the Steam for this game. You go into it's a community, guys. I think it's community.
Yeah, it's a discussions tab.
Discussions. Go to discussions. You find it relatively easy there. There's 5 main mods you can download and do that. It's a little bit different to what we've got here, but we got the main mod designer to make us a specific one, but we're not allowed to share it, and so it'll be slightly different to ours. Okay, guys? Next, Alaska versus Dunkirk. Really interesting for me. I'd never heard of Alaska before. I hadn't heard of a lot of these ships, to be honest. It turns out it's a heavy cruiser, a heavy armed cruiser, battle cruiser, something like that. Something in between. Took on Dunkirk, an older ship, and won convincingly. Anyone got anything to add to that?
With Alaska, that she's what's called a large cruiser. Many navies had different designs, but only Alaska's were built.
Roger. And she was really powerful. I think she can go far in this, guys. Rodney Littorio. Littorio is like, it was the biggest Italian ones, wasn't it? The Littorios, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, she's much more modern than Rodney as well.
Roger.
So Rodney's basically a 1960s, 1980s boat with a bit of a refit in America in the 40s, but Littorio's a much, much more modern ship.
Just Littorio was always going to win. We gave it a good try, but Littorio was always going to win. I did have a problem with it, and so what we ended up was redoing it all the way over here. I ended up, as promised, bringing in Nelson in, because it was a technical fault I did on one side, because we were still learning. Brought it against Nagato. To be honest, Nagato still smashed Nelson. Nelson, Rodney, great ships. Just can't compete at this level, sadly. That's it, guys. Vanguard, I heard of it, but I didn't know anything about it, really. It went against Richelieu, which is a good ship. Vanguard won. Thank God we got a British in the second round. Well done, Davros.
Well, she's the last battleship ever built as a battleship. So she should be.
So she should be up there. Really good.
Away.
Really good comment. Yeah, and date is so important because it means just better aiming generally. Well, just better all round. Next, Yamato, my favourite because it's stupid blunderbuss. I sailed it. I took on Davros in Tennessee. I can't even remember what Tennessee is. It's probably a World War One ship, knowing me, and I smashed it.
She's a super dreadnought stroke early battleship.
Roger. It was a mismatch at the end of the day. Iowa, again, mismatch. Again, remember the way I did these? I did them for a reason. It was my misunderstanding of how to match at the time. Obviously, we know a lot more now. So Iowa, Fuso, obviously I was going to win for the, we could play the game by then, right? Next, Warspite, very popular British Queen Elizabeth class. British was doing it against Colorado. Pony. Oh, Yank versus a Brit. That would have been a good battle. Warspite got through. I can't remember. Anyone of interest?
Long fight. Very, very tactical. And it went to the person with the most ammo, I believe. Pony Van Eyck.
Oh, wow. Okay, very good. Conti de Cavour, I don't know anything about it. It was obviously an Italian battleship against New Mexico. I guess it was similar to Colorado. New Mexico won. I don't know anything. Anyone?
We put a super dreadnought up against a battleship again, so yeah.
It was a Breiford dreadnought with the midships turret taken off.
Yeah,
Roger.
that's the Italian one, so New Mexico was always going to win that one.
You boys with the friggin' memory. Revenge. This is from memory, an old, like post-World War One battle cruiser against Nevada, which from memory is a battleship, and then it got smashed, which is no surprise to me, but you guys?
Revenge was actually newer than Queen Elizabeth and Nevada. She just didn't get the upgrades because she was built, I want to say economically rather than on a budget. She was built to be kind of a cheaper to run Queen Elizabeth, whereas Nevada is, she was one of the first, what's in American terms, standard battleships. So the first one goes 21 knots, 4.5 guns, 14-inch guns at the time.
Roger. Now, at this point, everyone was fed up of me making the decisions about what fights what, so the boys took over at this point. You started getting better battles with, what we had left. We didn't have much left, to be honest. Renown, which from memory was a relatively early battle cruiser, but a really cool one from British. Gneisenau is the same as Scharnhorst. Gneisenau won. I don't think that's really going to surprise anyone. It's a World War II against an early one. Am I right, Tonto, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, although Renown is my favourite World War II ship, it did upset me, but it's never going to win.
It does. I looked at. I thought, ooh, and I've got a book. I'm not going to go on, but early battlecruiser design, slender, long, fast, really cool. Congo, Imperial Japanese Navy, but the first one was built by the British, which I learned, obviously. A really interesting ship, but obviously relatively old battleship. Some people call it battle cruiser for some reason. I don't understand why. Andrea Doria, which was a little bit outmatched. So Corp on his first go had a suicide run, tried to make it, it failed. Congo went through. Any comments?
Close enough.
I have to say,
it's Andrea Doria.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea Doria actually stats out as probably the worst of the battleships we have.
Yeah.
She's a 1960s design, so yeah.
Even though newer than Conti de Cavour as well.
Yeah.
Roger, guys?
yeah, I had a. This was obviously my first battle, so and now I noticed watching other people's do. You miss out on the small details because when you are looking somebody else playing, you find out small details, but he will miss out because you have more things to think about yourself. And I made few mistakes. If I'm gonna run it again, probably gonna get closer because the Congo doesn't have ammunition that Andrea Doria will have.
Roger, guys. Next, Nelson, because we wanted to give Rodney another chance because I made a cock up. Put it against Nagato, which is a big IJM battleship, and we thought it was going to win. We really did. Nelson's a big, heavy battleship, fierce, big guns. It just couldn't do it. We tried really hard, and Nagato won fair and square. It's not going to get through. Any comments?
No, you've got an aging World War One ship against an interwar design.
They're both built at the same time. They're both the same, historically the same classification. What's known as the Big Seven: Nelson, Rodney, Nagato, Mutsu, and West Virginia, Colorado, and what was the last one? Maryland. Yeah, which were all 16-inch armed battleships. So they were the only 7 16-inch armed battleships in the world at the time. So this was actually should be closer than it actually was. I don't know what happened to Nelson, but her shells historically were not great.
I'm going to put that down to the OPing of Killerfish on the Axis side then.
What do
That's
you guys?
my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
It might be. It might be. Like I said, we're abusing the game. It's not supposed to do this. Never did they think, let's put Nelson against Nagato. It's physically impossible to do. We're doing it for the first time ever, as far as I'm aware, and there's a little bit. But generally, it's worked out fine. Finally, New York is an old American battleship from what I remember. Fuso is an old IGN battleship, and New York 1. And it's only the last one, but I can't even remember. Any comments, guys?
I personally was surprised, Fuso being a newer ship, having more guns, in theory better speed and armor. On paper, it should have won, but New York won it. I think it was a mag hit, of all things.
It was a mag hit. I
Yep.
remember now it was a mag hit. Yeah, you get a mag hit. That's, yep, fair enough, guys. Yeah,
Naval
well done.
battles tend to be a lot about luck, and if a mag hit hits, well, that's luck
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, as we
Yeah,
saw.
I'd agree. I'd agree with that on paper. Fuso goes on through on that one, but yeah, that element. Roll the dice. Where are those shells going to fall?
Guys,
I think
Yeah,
it
I
came down to the gunnery as well, because New York. I don't know about New York herself. I think Texas was the first ship or the first battleship to get radar, and it's a modernized fit. Obviously, it has better fire control than it did initially, and it had radar, which Fuso didn't.
I'm not sure if New York or if Texas actually had the blind fire directors. That's one thing I'm not sure about.
Roger, guys. We're going to go on to viewer feedback. We read all of the. Well, I read all of my comments. Some of them aren't very nice, but you know, it's the give and take of YouTube. I read all of my comments religiously on these battles here because it's, I need to learn how to do it, and we've got a lot of criticism, and almost all of it is deserved, which is great. And we've learnt from that, and we've got better and better. And I hope you'd agree with that. Some of the really interesting things we've learnt. Davros, can you have your little notes in the background because I've lost them, me being me. Some important ones, obviously, how to play the damn game, right? How to get our accuracy up, how to do standoff battleshipping, tactical stuff like that from you guys, but also my guys that have come in and helped me with that. Also about choosing stuff wrong, estimating how powerful a ship is, how important fire control is. It's stuff I didn't even think about before. It's so important, and it's really well modelled. All that stuff about a lot of physical stuff about the ships, about how armour, positioning your armour physically of your armour, and as well as that about how a battleship,
I'm going to stop you there for a second, Cap, because I did make a note on that one.
Okay.
Because this is the issue of what they call bow tanking. Now, we are going to upset people whatever we say about this, but it is not a physical thing in the real world, especially nowadays with aluminium ships. So bow tanking is where in war, somebody help me out, that game.
It's
World
one
of
of the
Warships.
ships. I've
World
got
of
11
Warships.
years in it.
Okay, so 11 years, you put your bow on, it gives you an extra armour factor if you have your bow directly towards the ship. That's got your broadside. It does not happen in real life. Angled armour is a thing, and I have a mate who's got a PhD in astrophysics who will quite happily talk your head off about armour. If it's not classified, he'll talk about it. If it's classified, he won't tell you about it. So, there was a lot of math in armour. Bow tanking, however, just putting your bow towards the guns and expecting an extra armour to appear somehow is not a thing in real life. So that was the note I made on that. So yeah, we're going to upset people on both sides of the divide there, but it's a game mechanic. It is not a real life factor.
To explain the game mechanic, it's basically when the plating of the bow of the ship is angled so heavily, the shells are just ricocheting off the bell armor. It happens at the top tiers of the game, not at the lower tiers of the game, where most guns just punch straight through. It's a game mechanic in the game. It's, like Davros said, it is not something that happens in reality.
Roger, guys. Very good.
Your plating on this ship, even as thick as it is, will actually get deformed by heavy wave hits.
Roger. Yeah, no,
It's not going to take a 16-inch shell, or just deflect it off. So, yeah.
Roger, guys. Also talked about
Think-
hang on just a second, the construction of the ship as well, because I used to think that the superstructure was the Citadel. It's not. The superstructure is the superstructure, the stuff above the deck. The Citadel is like the protective kind of encasement of a lot of the important sections. I do know, I just can't just explain it. Just the design of these ships and how they differed. Guys, I'm going to unleash you to talk about other feedbacks. Trying to stay on topic from the viewers that you've learnt.
So I did make a couple of notes on this before Fly starts. So learn how to fight the ships. You've sort of covered that already. Yes, we are learning how to fight them. We're getting much more effective. The battles are getting longer because of that. When is a fair fight not a fair fight? I've addressed it a few times in the comments, and basically, I don't care. The better ship is going to go through. So I don't really care if it's a fair fight. We're trying to make them a fair fight now. It does make it more interesting. It does make it a lot longer video. And one of the things the viewers have to remember is that we try to keep these at an hour, and hopefully they edit down to half an hour, 45 minutes. It's still a long video for YouTube. Good ships and bad ships. We've done the math as best we can. We are not trying to rig it too much. Guns on target, we've taken it on the chin. Yes, we should put more guns on target, except when we have a tactical reason not for doing that. Take it seriously? Nah, folks, never. It's a game. Sorry. Anybody else got any of that?
Take it seriously. We'll be here for hours with smoke on, smoke off, and we'll just run out of ammo.
That's a really good point, guys, because if the guys, if their life depended on it, their mortgage depended on it, these battles would end with no one killing each other. Because that's kind of a lot of how it happened in real life, right? They couldn't afford to lose 2,000 men, so they would, snipe and pull away, and snipe and pull away. We can't do that because we've got to make a video and someone's got to win within half an hour, ideally. So, yes, take it seriously, but within reason. So I completely agree with that, guys.
I would just like to point out, with the Battle of Jutland, very little ships were lost on either side, and the battle cruiser was actually sunk because of not design decisions, command decisions rather than for actual ship designs.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tiger took 140 hits as a battle cruiser. Warspite took 240. These things take ages.
Yeah, Bismarck took somewhere near 250 to 300 main gun hits and still had to be torpedoed, and then her own crew scuttled her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that in real life these would be used more of denying the area than like just staying there and stand their ground and fight for the last man. Like if you have a battleship in the area, you have to take it on consideration. You cannot just run in. You're gonna
Absolutely. No admiral is going to make a battleship do what we do in these videos.
Unless you're BT. But that's what this is different discussion.
Guys, I'm going to go on my last talking point, and then I'll leave it for free chat. Let me just get the slide loaded up, which takes us beautifully, viewers, on to round 2. So we now know what ships have gone through to round 2. So the first 32 have got knocked down to 16. We're now on to round 2. It's the top 16, and I'm going to try and find the right picture. I apologise if I load the wrong one up. That is the right picture. So I've asked the boys to do matchups, but I gave them restrictions. I said, I want you to do good matchups the best you can, but I want Bismarck, I want the biggest, most famous ships not to meet each other if they go through until the very last, the semi-finals. So I said Bismarck has to be there. I've said Littorio has to be there. I've said Yamato has to be there. And I've said wherever she is. What was the other one? Other big one. Bollocks.
Iowa, you had it on already.
No, but whatever. For Iowa, yeah, 4 big. There it is. There. Okay. So I said around that, get the other 12 and make the best matches you can, and that's what they've done. So remember, they've always got restrictions. We've got, in round 2, 16 contenders. Bismarck will be taking on the big cruiser Alaska. Predictions, who's going to win? I think Bismarck, go quick.
Yep.
Alaska's not designed to fight that.
Oh, Alaska. All right, well, we'll see how they're piloted. Next, Tirpitz versus North Carolina. That's a good match. 2 big battleships, right? Who's going to win? I say Tirpitz.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I need to say Tirpitz.
No, you do, don't you? Next, Littorio. Oh, this one's an interesting one, guys. Big modern Italian versus big modern British. Littorio versus Vanguard. It's got to be Vanguard. Come on, guys.
Vanguard's with the fire
I'm
control.
so hoping so, yeah. She's got the
depends how
radar.
much wine the Italians had last night.
What you guys?
It depends how much wine and whether they've got radar, and they haven't got radar, I believe.
Historically, if they had fuel.
Ooh.
All right. Stay on topic. Yamato
mean.
versus South Dakota. Well, South Dakota will probably outshoot her. We found that tonight with the battle that we just recorded. But Yamato's so big, so powerful, so heavily defended. I personally think Yamato, but he could lose. What do you think?
60-40 Yami to South Dakota. South Dakota does have a chance, but it's not slim.
Yamato has to be careful whilst being decisive. She needs to get in visual range, and she needs to get those 18 inches on target. So she's going to have to go max ball towards South Dakota.
Because she doesn't have a fire control radar. Because she doesn't have fire control radar. Yeah, interesting.
So again, if she's outside of 21,000 yards, she will lose that match because Dakota will just peck at her.
Difficult one, guys.
Which one is
Dakota's-
faster? How fast was Yamato? Can
They'll be the same.
like,
Dakota's one knot faster, and Dakota does have
Okay,
better
yeah.
deck penetration on her guns. So Yami actually need to get in a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Roger, guys. I
It's
think
gonna be
one
interesting.
knot doesn't make difference.
we all agree with that. And that's all the stuff we've learned. Queen Elizabeth versus Gneisenau. She got fast little snipey thing versus fairly old battleship. Battleship was going to win? Question mark.
I want to say Warspite. She's got the weight advantage again. She's got the radar, so yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's tricky. Gneisenau has the speed, both the same guns, but Warspite is Warspite.
Yeah, right.
That's the nice now. Is it more accurate because if it's faster, it can stay outside of the range, and where the Warspite down maybe broke some. I don't know. It depends
So-
on who's commanding.
The caveat with all these Axis power ships is that our mod designer
Right.
is tweaking. If they aren't tweaked and these Axis ships still have their OP guns, they're going to go through.
We've got a tweak for round 2, though, haven't we, guys? From the designer.
We're hoping
We do,
so.
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, we're hoping so.
We'll install it for round 2. Don't let me forget, for God's sake, because I will forget, guys. And it's the first round. It's going to come into play. Next, 2 ships I know exactly 0 about, because I've forgotten already. Nevada, New Mexico, 2 old battleships, question mark. Who's going to win?
They're both extremely similar. I mean, the main difference is New Mexico's got 2 extra guns.
The Nevada's been modernized post Pearl Harbor. New Mexico hasn't in these models.
Oh, she hasn't. Oh,
Ooh, all right.
Then
So
the
it
modern-
might come back to radar versus sight again.
Roger, guys. Next, Iowa versus Nagato. I mean, you could not get a more classic mismatch. Radar-guided sniper, Iowa, versus big, heavy gun brawler, Nagato. It depends how they're captains, right? But probably Iowa, if he can stay out of 25 kiloyards, is going to win.
yeah, Iowa should have it. She's got the best fire control, best guns, best armor, and ridiculous speed.
Yeah. Next, Congo versus New York. It's not that I don't care. It's just I have no idea. I have no idea. No idea. I don't even know what to say. Someone?
I think
I mean-
New York.
New York won against Fuso, a technically
Yeah.
better battleship, which is very weird.
I'm going to come down with Congo on that one. Congo should have the speed and the advantage maneuver. Slightly higher rate of fire as well, so I think she can probably out-snipe. But again, she's going to have to out-snipe within that visual range, which is the
Yeah,
issue.
yeah. Congo has to play a range and speed.
Roger, guys. That's the end of my official stuff. I'm gonna before I open it up to free chat on topic, I'll just say that we've really enjoyed this. We're sort of living and breathing this competition at the moment, and because it's like I said, it's new, it's exciting. A lot of this we just don't know, so we're learning along the way. Guys, any comments roughly on what we're doing? Anything you want to see? Blah 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 blah.
I just want to address the Hood and Bismarck match. It's not that Hood wasn't the she was completely outmatched. She had every chance to beat Bismarck. Just Bismarck was a newer ship. I mean, Hood's belt armor in theory could handle it at a certain range. You just couldn't get in range to use the armor. The deck's weaker, but the belt's actually fairly strong.
Okay, when you go on the historic, we need to say that the captain of Hood actually did a calculation mistake by thinking he's like within the range of, within minimum range of the high angle fire, what he wasn't. And when a high angle shot directly penetrated the magazine, that's a very lucky shot from Bismarck. They trained on that, but still,
Yeah. So
two things came together.
The British didn't realise Bismarck wasn't leading. Prince Egan was leading, so they, as you say, they made that miscalculation, and then Bismarck a very, very lucky shot. Hood as well, it has been theorised, was not using proper health and safety. They weren't closing their ammunition stores, their magazine stores completely to allow extra flow of powder and shells up to the guns, so you get a higher rate of fire. But obviously that puts you at a disadvantage if you actually get a hit in those magazines, because the explosions just go through to multiple places.
I've got a tag on for that, guys. Rodney and Nelson, just post World War One. They've got their main 16 inches. Have got a really bad reload time, 45 seconds, which is terrible. I asked the guys, why is this battleship got such terrible reload time? They said it's because of the scrutineering after the Battle of Jutland, where so many magazines failed due to not design, but by seamanship. Is that the right word? By technique, by
Absolutely.
operation?
Yeah.
It was the order.
Yeah.
It was the order from
Procedure.
BT, which was because their accuracy was not great. Instead of training accuracy, they just thought, let's fling more shells at them. So they loaded the turrets with powder and shells. The magazine doors weren't closed. They had powder outside of the magazines. One hit into the non-protected parts of the ships where the powder was stored, which would then go into the main magazine. That's what's caused the explosions.
And so they've tightened that procedure up massively for Nelson and Rodney, but what you get there is a lesser rate of fire, at least in-game, where it's non-variable. So that's interesting. Carry on, guys.
Historically, I mean, they did have a slower reload. I mean, I would say more 35 than 45 seconds, but it was slower than the 15 inches and 13.5s the rest of the fleet had.
I think that reflects on real life. Like, if you work in, people start to get clever and try to make procedure quicker and sort of, bend the rules. It happens in real life in work environment and definitely in armed forces. I have seen it in both, so that's probably natural. And I can see why they want to crack down on that. So keep the procedures in place, because it doesn't matter if you try to can reload 5 to 10 seconds faster. If you run a risk to just blowing up your entire ship, then you're not reloading anything anymore.
On that note, Tiger, I did mention earlier, was one of BT's battle cruisers. She did not explode because she didn't do those techniques and took 140 hits at Jutland.
Wow.
So that's mostly what happened
Well,
there.
there you go.
So forever there's been this balance between taking risk and getting benefit. Sometimes the more risk you take, the more benefit you could get. It's like being a gambler. You go for the high stakes. You may 1 in 100 times get a high return. 89 times you might get nothing. 30 times you might get absolutely slaughtered and all your money goes. It's exactly the same with any war fighting. The more you risk, the more the potential gain is, but the more the potential loss is as well. Do you want to hear my conclusions? Does anybody want to hear the conclusions I came to? So, one, we are learning the game. Okay, I think Cap does an absolutely amazing. I don't know how Cap does it, so kudos to Cap for actually keeping the kittens in the basket while we play the bloody game. Okay, so kudos to Cap for doing that for a start. How anybody controls that, I've tried it. 2 battleships on my own, nobody else talking about it is hard work. We are learning the game, we are learning it fast. I think most of us have probably only got tens of hours in this game, certainly not hundreds, certainly not thousands, okay, but just I know some of our commentators have. We're learning how to fight big ships. There is a big difference between small ships and big ships. I used to be a dinghy sailor, used to compete in dinghies. These things are absolute mammoths. Okay, they're 100 times, 200 times the length of the little dinghy I use. They feel like it as well. So kudos to the modders and the modelers. They feel amazing to play. We're having fun. All right, we are having fun. We're growing the community, so come in and have some fun. We are playing each other offline as well. Britt and I have had a couple of matches now where we've actually played each other again using Discord as a streamer, and one of us taking control of both ships. Please subscribe. Leave a comment on more than 7 words. It really helps Cap grow the videos. Okay, buy some merch if you really want to support him. He needs a new computer, folks. Let's keep paying for that new computer. And I'll slap the slides that I actually did for the PowerPoint, which has got most of the talking points on here. I'll slap those up on Discord on the Naval Channels channel the Naval Games channel for the Grim Reapers Discord server.
Super duper, guys. Thank you very much. I better pack it in because it's getting late. Good job, a good fight today, and I'll see you guys next week.
Have fun. Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.